Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I begin in the name of Allah, whose mercy is profound, whose kindness is forever. We are now moving towards ending the discussion on pronouns, probably one session now and another, and we will be done with the basic understanding of nouns. Uh, while talking about nouns, there is an important concept which is that of pronouns. In Arabic, they are called dhamair, the plural of dhamir, which is the singular. We know that, while talking about individuals, about other items that are nouns, you don't always refer to their names. It gets monotonous. You don't want to say that I met Zaid. Zaid invited me to his place. Zaid talked to me. Zaid was very pleasant in his mood, etc. You would say, I met Zaid. He invited me to his place. He was in a good mood, and so on. So, instead of saying Zaid, Zaid, Zaid over and over again, you would say, refer to him as he, and likewise to other objects through the pronouns that are more appropriate for them. In Arabic, we therefore have pronouns, and they are divided into two categories. There are pronouns which are called dhamair munfasil, and there are pronouns which are dhamair muttasil. Munfasil, muttasil. The words are clarifying what these two different categories of pronouns are. Dhamir munfasil is a pronoun which, when it appears in a sentence, in a statement, written statement, it comes independently, doesn't join any other word. And when the same pronoun is written in a way that it is attached, annexed to another noun, it is muttasil. So fasl is isolated, distinct, and wasl is joined. That's why visal in Urdu is quite often used for somebody who dies. The idea is that he has joined his creator. That's one of the concepts. Anyway, now we will just do this practice, this mention of these two types of dhamair, and you would find that they're very often used in Arabic in the Quran, and just being able to identify them with their meanings would give you a lot of insight into the text of the Quran and its understanding. Quite often, while reading the Quran, one of the exercises that you do mentally, intellectually, is to figure out as to which noun is a particular pronoun referring to. Quite often, you find that there is a difference of opinion, and obviously, it's something which needs to be worked out clearly as to what exactly is the noun that a certain pronoun is referring to. Quite often, obviously, it's pretty much clear. Now, we'll first do the pronouns which are munfasil. In order to do them, I'll go through a presentation of metrics, which is gardan, that will come in quite handy and is going to be employed when we talk about verbs as well. We begin with singular, wahid. This is singular. Then we move on to tathniya, which we already know now that it's for two. It's a peculiarity of Arabic language, maybe for some others as well. But then we have the third possibility of jama, which is plural. Now, we move on to the uh, horizontal axis, and we talk about muzakkar, which is masculine, and we talk about muannas, which is feminine. And we are, in this particular case, talking about third person, which is ghaib. Now, likewise, you're talking about muzakkar and muannas. I'm not going to repeat their English equivalents, but this time round it's the second person, which in Arabic is hadir, the one who is present. And finally, you have a third category wherein you don't have a distinction between muzakkar, muannas, masculine, feminine. It's the first person pronoun, which is in Arabic is mutakallim, which is the one who is speaking. Now, we are talking about the pronouns which are munfasil, which come when they are written in the text separated from other words. Another peculiarity of these pronouns is that whenever they appear, they are always in the form of rafa. That's what their positioning is. The four reasons of rafa, one of them applies to them all throughout whenever they appear. So we begin now. Singular, masculine, third person is huwa. So, instead of saying Zaidun alimun, Zaid is a scholar, you might also say huwa alimun, he is a scholar. And when there are two, then the pronoun is huma. Instead of saying Zaidun wa Khalidun alimani, you might say huma alimani. And if you notice, in both cases it's rafa, because they are in the mubtada category. And then plural is hum. Now, when it comes to wahid, singular, feminine, third person, it's hiya. So, huwa alimun, hiya alimatun. As far as two is concerned, it's exactly the same. So, huma could mean those two men, it could mean those two women, it could mean those two, one man and one woman. And plural, feminine, third person is hunna. The Quran, referring to the verses which are muhkamat, goes on to say, hunna ummul kitab. Those verses are the basic text of the book, the real message of the book. Singular, wahid, second person, masculine, is anta. Anta, which is, if you would say, Zaid is a scholar, Zaidun alimun, and Zaid is standing just right in front of you. You say, Anta alimun, you are a scholar. So it's the same, and it would obviously be in the rafa form. If you're talking about two individuals standing in front of you, or you're talking to them directly on phone or whatever, it's antuma. When it comes to plural, it's antum. Bal antum qawmun musrifun. The Quran says. So antum, that is plural, masculine, second person. Singular, feminine, second person, anti. Anti alimatun, you are a scholar, lady. Sounds similar to auntie. You never know, there might be some connection. But anti, antuma is the same. Whether you are referring to feminine or masculine, or one each of the two, it's antuma. But when it comes to plural, second person, feminine, you refer to it by saying antunna. You, many women. Finally, when you say I, whether you are a man or a woman, you would say ana. I, the famous ana, the ego. So ana is I, and we, whether it's two or more, men or women, doesn't matter, it's nahnu. So in case of nahnu, it takes care of both two, and more than two takes care of both men and women, nahnu. So huwa, huma, hum, hiya, huma, hunna, anta, antuma, antum, anti, antuma, antunna, ana, nahnu. These are the pronouns, 14 of them, which take care of all possible pronouns that you have to use in Arabic text, provided that you are using the pronouns in the sentence wherein had there been a noun instead of it, it would have taken the rafa form. And the other thing is that whenever they appear isolated, independent. They don't join any other noun. Likewise, we have pronouns which are muttasil, which, as I said, are the ones that actually join. They come in a way, in a text, wherein they are annexed with, joined by another word. And they appear when either the noun is in the form of nasab or jar. The noun that they are replacing, the noun that they are representing, had that noun been there, it would have been in the form of either nasab or jar. Or we might also say that these pronouns, when they appear in the form of pronouns muttasil, they are in either the form of nasab or jar. Now, how do they appear? As you can see, the meanings of both have to be the same. When you are going to have a singular masculine third person pronoun, whether it is munfasil or whether it is muttasil, doesn't really make any difference. The meaning is the same, but their usage is different. So when you're saying singular masculine third person, you're actually, let's use a noun along with that. It would be kitabuhu. In actual fact, it's hu. Kitab I have used to facilitate the understanding of what it really means. Because as I said, it is muttasil, it always comes attached with a noun, which in this case is kitab. And kitab is mudaf, and hu is mudaf ilayh. And obviously mudaf ilayh is always in the form of jar. You notice that here it's not jar visible, it's dhamma, it's pesh, but we'll talk about it later. Kitabuhu means his book. Had it been muttasil, had it been munfasil, pardon me, it would have been Hoa. But now it's Kitabuhu, his book. He being a person not present here. If the book belongs to two of them who are not here and they are men, it would be Kitabuhuma. Kitabuhuma. The book of those two. So you might say that both in munfasil and muttasil it's huma. And when it comes to plural, it's kitabuhum. It's kitabuhum. Their book. So there are several, more than two men whose book it is. If the book belongs to a lady and she's not present, then it would be kitabuha, her book, and obviously joined. In case of two, it's kitabuhuma, the book of those two. They could be ladies, the two could be gent, could be one lady, one gentleman. That's how it is. And when it is going to be the book of several ladies, it's going to be kitabuhunna. In each of these cases, you see, the words are joined. I mean, had it been, let's say, Huwa Zaidun, he is Zaid, then you see it's not joined and it's in Rafa form. Here, they're always joined. Now, when you're talking about your book, that is one man who is present, and you want to say your book, it would be kitabuka. Kitabuka. This ka instead of anta. In case of munfasil, it was anta. Here it is ka, kitabuka. In case of two, there it was antuma. In this case, it's kitabukuma. Kitabukuma. Real meanings absolutely the same, but you can see that there's a difference of the status in the sentence, in the form. The book of you who are more than two men, kitabukum. Kitabukum. Your book, and you being a lady present, it's kitabuki. Kitabuki. The book of yours, your book. Two ladies, or one lady, one gentleman, or two gentlemen, it's the same, kitabukuma. The book of many of you ladies, it's kitabukunna. Kitabukunna. My book, instead of ana, it's kitabi. And our book, it's kitabuna. Kitabuna, our book. So you see, that is the 14 cases of Zamair that are muttasil. They come and they join. As I mentioned, they're going to be either in the form of nasab or jar. In this particular example, I chose to give example of a case wherein they are in the jar form because they are mudaf ilay. But they can very much also be in the form of nasab as well. For example, we've seen that one of the reasons why a noun would take nasab is that it is preceded by inna. Inna. So you would say innahu, right? Innahuma, innahum, innaha, innahuma, innahunna, Innaka. See, we find in the Quran, Innaka antal azizul hakim. Innaka, innakuma, innakum, innakum qataltum anfusakum. Innaki, innaki min al khati'in. Innakuma, innakunna. Inni, inna. You see, when you have with in, it's inni. And here, normally, you find in the Quran both cases, inna or innana. Walau annana. So, inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr. We have revealed this book, this text in the night of Qadr. So, that is what these pronouns are. They are very useful, very important, and as we shall see later, these pronouns are visible, and at times they are not visible. They are implied when we are using verbs. But, just revising them a few times would enable you to have a grasp of what they are. They're essentially 14 plus 14, 28, but as they appear, because they're pretty familiar to us, even if we have not done them formally, you would find that the exercise is going to be is not going to be a difficult one. And the very fact that you have these pronouns used in the Quran so many times, so very often, you just cannot miss them. And as I said, it really is one of the important challenges of reading the Quran and understanding it, that you try to figure out as to which particular noun is a particular pronoun referring to. More particularly when you are talking about the third person pronoun, because there obviously you don't have anything specific at times to be able to identify the pronoun with. Just one more discussion apart from these two Zaheer, and I hope that we'll be done with the basic discussion on nouns. And this particular matter is something which is not completely unrelated to pronouns, because as I'm going to mention, that what we're going to do now is an understanding which has to do with pronouns as well as other nouns. You see, the question is that when we say that a certain noun has taken the form of rafa, nasab, or jar, quite often the understanding is that if it is rafa, it's going to be zaydun, or if it's nasab, it's going to be zaydan, and if it is jar, it's going to be zaydin. But sadly, not necessarily always. So there are possibilities that you will have rafa and without the zamma, pesh. And there are three different possibilities. I'll just mention them here, and when we do the next session, I'll start by explaining what these three different possibilities are. There is the category of what we call nouns that are munsarif. Munsarif. There are nouns which are ghair munsarif. And there are nouns that are mabni. Now, these three categories of nouns are the ones which would decide as to whether the noun is going to take the form of rafa as it appears, in the form of dhamma, or it's going to take a different shape, different form. It's just a matter of of identifying nouns according to these three categories, and hopefully in the next session we'll begin with it, and then we'll go into doing some practice of what we have learned as yet. May the Almighty enable us to understand the language of His book properly, so that we are able to know what the meanings of it are when we read it and try to figure out the meanings directly.